Hi guys, hope you had a productive discussion online just now with Superman and me. And so the next assignment that we're going to work on is something we do every year, and you are writing an essay. However, this essay is not like an AP style essay. It's not a rhetorical analysis of Superman and me. It is not an argument essay. We're still preparing for the argument essay, but this is not that. This is actually a little bit more fun, I would say. And so what you're going to do for the next couple of class periods is work on an imitation essay. And you are going to imitate Sherman Alexie's Superman and Me with your own lesson that you have learned. So the sub should be passing this out pretty soon here. This is the assignment sheet, the AP Lang imitation essay. The first part of it kind of goes through what imitation is to talk about how it's not necessarily copying. You're not going to be copying what Sherman Alexie is doing, but you're going to be imitating his style. So a definition of imitation. Again, it's not plagiarism. Imitation is trying to be like, to emulate, or to mirror someone openly. Plagiarism doesn't give credit. You're basically going to be admitting that you are, writing in the style of Sherman Alexie. So here's the assignment. It says, we have carefully read Sherman Alexie's Superman and Me. Your assignment is to write an essay using Sherman Alexie as your mentor. So you're going to write in his style, use his sentence combinations, borrow his transitions, mimic his paragraph length, and use some repetition or metaphor or whatever it is, whatever you coded for rhetorical strategies. I wish I would have had time to go over that with you, but hopefully you'll see in my version what I mean by that. The topic should relate to something that you have learned, not like learning how to drive a car or I guess that could work. Something meaningful in your life, I guess. And sometimes those moments are kind of snapshots, and they're not usually big things that you've learned, that we've all learned, but something you personally have learned, like as a life lesson. And what was the external example that showed that? So again, I'll show you mine. So for Sherman Alexie, he talked about how he learned to read being a way that he learned how to survive in a white world as an Indian. So again, it'll be all your own. The craft will be inspired by Alexie. Those are the requirements for you. I'd like it to be 2 pages double spaced. You can write this on Google Docs and share it with me. Make sure you share it with S. Nance. The other requirements are there. You'll see that in hard copy. And then, of course, the rough draft due date. The rough draft of this is due on Friday. Today's Monday, so you have some time in class here to kind of think about some things that you have learned in your life that you would want to talk about. We'll work on this on Wednesday, and the rough draft is due on Friday. On Friday, we'll have a workshop, so you'll have somebody else in the class look at your workshop, and the final draft will be due next Tuesday. Okay? If you have any questions, you can email me ahead of time, or you can just talk to me on Wednesday because I will be back. So the other thing this sub is going to be passing out to you is my example. Okay? So you'll format yours very similarly with your name, my name, the class name, and the day that it's due. Okay, that's an old date, so get rid of that. Make sure that you have a title. Okay, mine does not follow the formatting instructions. It's not double spaced. Yours is going to be double spaced, but you will have a title on it. Okay, I probably, going back on a revision, would indent my paragraphs. That's just pretty minor though. I wrote this last year. Okay, so you should be able to read this and look at how I'm imitating Sherman Alexie, but I'm not copying what he's doing. Okay, so I'll just read with you. If you could follow along on the screen here, and of course you'll have your hard copy here in a second of what this looks like for me. Okay, so my piece is titled The Pieces of Home. Read with me, please. I first learned how to be immortal when my dad moved my sisters and me across town, away from the home we grew up in, when I was 17. Since then, every place I have moved from up until even this past March, I have left a tiny object in a hidden place somewhere on the property. I cannot remember even half of the items I have left, but they are small. A bobby pin, a toothpaste cap, a scrap of paper with my name on it. I cannot remember where I placed them exactly, but they are in concealed places where no one will find, or should find, the pieces of me that I have left. In between the wall and the carpet, under a rock in the backyard, or maybe behind the refrigerator. All I know is that I am a piece of my family, a piece of my own personal history, and that those pieces stay on even when I am gone. My dad had to leave that house on South Eudora Street, not wanting to hurt his daughters any more than he already had. He had not planned to take us away from our childhood home, but the sad memories of what once was between him and my mom, who had rightfully left a year previously, proved to be too much for him, and maybe even for Abby, Betsy, and me. In that home, my dad raced us down the hill in the big backyard, partially ate reindeer food when we were children to prove Santa had been down the chimney, read books to us, built Abby and I a window seat that held all of our Barbies, put a lock on the outside of Betsy's room so she wouldn't get out when she was in timeout, built us a playhouse in the rocks on the north side of the home, replaced windows, covered old wallpaper, hosted parties with his frat boy friends from central Indiana, and made mustard smiley faces on our sandwiches to eat at school. Once, in a fit of power-inspired hilarity, he allowed my sisters and I to get a pet turtle only if we named it after him, King Bradley. Some people ask how I could possibly have a relationship with my father, knowing what he did to my mother. But I tell people, even now, because he's my dad, and he is hopelessly devoted to us. Okay, so that's all true, one. But hopefully you can see some things that I'm copying or imitating that are in the style of Sherman Alexie. So I'm using repetition. I'm using a list. He uses that long list in the second paragraph. I even use words like I cannot remember. That's my repetition, that anaphora that he uses so powerfully. So I want you to do the same thing. What you're going to really be struggling with today and really on Wednesday too is what to write about. And so once you get the topic and you want to talk about the lesson you learned, then you can start thinking about how you would piece it together in the style of Sherman Alexie, how you would imitate his craft. So for the rest of class, please read through the rest of this for some more ideas. I can't tell you how many ways I want you to imitate him or how many times I want you to imitate him. If I were to double space this, it would definitely be over 2 pages, okay? So think about that. But again, I really would like you to read it. One, because it's personal, you get to know a little bit about me, and of course I'm going to get to know a little bit more about you. So this is a narrative essay in which you're imitating Sherman Alexie. All right, well, good luck. Again, email me if you have any serious or pressing questions, but we plan to work on this on Wednesday with the Chromebooks. And given how much time you have today, I'd like you to get started. Good luck, and I'll see you Wednesday.